Alrighty, gonna head on back to 1986. Let's get our Nintendo here. Nope. Nope. All right. Okay, gotta put in her name. Okay, register. And all right, we are off and running. Welcome to the Game Over, Play It Again podcast, episode 3, The Legend of Zelda for the original Nintendo. Nintendo Entertainment System. And I'm sorry, I keep calling it the original Nintendo, but that's how we know it now. We did a poll on the Spotify app. That didn't go over so great, so we did switch it to the Discord chat, but this game won by a landslide, because I am the only one who voted for it. Apparently, I'm the only one who knew about it. So before we get started anyway, Anthony, how are you?
Tom, I am doing great. I'm glad to be here. It's nice to be working on the podcast, talking about games and just having fun.
Right. It's been a while. We haven't got to see each other for a couple weeks, and it just feels like forever.
Yeah. It's been some time. I picked up some overtime at work, and that kept me busy, but I was able to pay off my fiance's engagement ring with that, so I'm super excited
Attaboy.
to have that weight lifted, and
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Right on. Well, I'm just doing my normal job, playing some video games, working on lodge stuff, sprinkling in scouts, and playing with my puppy dog. And she knows you're here, by the way.
I've heard her yipping a few times. I'm gonna have to be sure to say hi before I leave. I don't want to make
Absolutely.
her sad.
Well, what have you been playing? Anything fun the past couple weeks?
Yeah, I played a little bit of Cyberpunk, of course, but I put that on hold. I thought I started the original Zelda.
Uh-oh.
But it turned out to not be the correct one. So got way too deep into that, and then ended up having to start the one on the original Nintendo.
Okay, so which one were you playing?
I was playing the one on the Super Nintendo, thinking I was playing the original Zelda.
Okay, so we're going to have to play that at some point.
I think we're going to have to play it.
Okay. Well, we'll do that. What else?
Man, Limbo.
Limbo, okay.
Played a little bit of Limbo.
Nice.
Great game. Potential episode coming soon.
Yep. I got that one on my list here, too.
And between Zelda and Limbo, that was about it. How about yourself? What had you been playing?
Well, I played through this Zelda, the first 9 dungeons, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit. I've been playing Balatro for hopefully an upcoming episode also.
Very nice.
It's kind of a poker-esque type rogue game. Have you played it?
I haven't.
No, you'll love it. Tommy's been playing that on his phone.
Oh, very
and
fun.
I have it on the Xbox with Game Pass, and I got it on the PlayStation too. So, and then again, I played Limbo for an upcoming event. That since you suggested that, and then I got to play some of RC Pro-Am for the April 9th poll winner.
Very nice.
Yes. I can't find my childhood copy, But we can fire it up after the podcast here.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
Very nice. So yeah, I've been playing that on Switch, and it's also on Rare Replay on Game Pass.
Oh, very cool.
So
Very cool.
we won't spoil any of the fun things that happen on that. And then finally, last night, I platinumed Astrobot.
I saw that. I was very, very proud of you when I saw the video. And for those of you who haven't seen it, there's a jump scare. So be sure to watch it on full volume.
Jump scare. Well, I'll post my brag on YouTube on the YouTube channel. But that last level is brutal. How far are you on Astro?
I want to say probably 2 worlds away from the last world in the original set.
Okay.
So I'm getting close to it.
Okay. Nice.
But I watched the playthrough on your YouTube channel, of course, and it looked awful. I mean, that level looks terrible.
Oh, yeah.
The playthrough looks great. The level looks terrible.
Well, I can't wait to talk about that game either. But yeah, there's maybe a handful of levels that are just brutal. That is the last one is just horrendous.
So I gotta ask, how long did you spend trying to beat the last level?
I don't want to say it. I'm probably sitting at about 8 hours of grinding that damn level through it. And one of our dear friends, he platinumed the game before I did.
Wow.
And he started way after. I think he has like 18 hours in the whole game.
That's amazing.
and so I'm sitting there at my 50 hours. How many hours you got in on yours?
I would say, I think the last time I checked, I was sitting at about 20.
20? Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of, for me, there's a lot of side distractions in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Checking things out.
I played a lot of those levels multiple times. You're going to play one that has Aloy from Horizon.
Oh, very fun.
I probably played that one 6, 7, 8, 9 times because it's just a fun level. And whatnot. And then, of course, all the interruptions that come with it. But, man, I think a lot of that 8 hours of that last level was me getting pissed off, walking away, coming back, picking up a controller. And I was so close. I was there's one little section, man, I was just a couple inches away from the ending and I died. And I texted our friend Cody, and I'm like, man, yada, yada, yada. And it's right there. And he's like, yeah, I bet Dave's going to love being in this thread. So I texted the wrong thread.
Well, do you want to share with the viewers what you actually said?
No, I don't. Because our viewers know how long 4 inches is. And that's none of their damn business.
It's funny when it's snow, 4 inches is really deep.
It is. It's a lot. Oh, well, we should probably get off that topic and maybe talk a little Zelda.
Yeah, I think that'd be appropriate.
All right. Well, we can certainly do that. So this game holds a special place in my heart. It's technically the third game I ever owned for the Nintendo. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more about childhood games in the future, and what I got, when I got them, stuff like that. But we got the Nintendo right when school let out, summer of '88.
Ooh, good timing.
Yeah, it was. It had only been out for a little bit of time. And, oh, man, I think I begged my parents for a solid year for a Nintendo. And they got that for us, so I played Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt for like 3 days and nights straight.
Nice.
Because I knew that we were going to be traveling with my sister and I would be traveling with my dad and out of state as he was working jobs out of state.
Sure.
And so then I didn't get to play it all summer long. So then we come back and just a few days before school's going to start back up. Mm-hmm. And my birthday falls in there, so they got me The Legend of Zelda. So I'm opening up this box, and it has that beautiful gold case and the whole 9 yards, and that big-ass instruction booklet, and yeah, I don't read. I would have got so much further had I actually read the instruction booklet.
So did you end up keeping the book, or did you toss it?
I don't know where it is today. I had it forever. I'm still missing some of my games. They're not up on the shelf or anything like that. But I actually found a copy online and printed it out, that one I handed you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And So, but yeah, I popped that game in, and I struggled, and playing it, and that book just tells you where the first 4 levels are.
Right.
Which, who does that? It even gives you a diagram of level 1 and level 2, and the whole overworld. And if I would have just opened the damn book. And we can get into that more in a minute. But how'd your start go?
Well, as previously stated, I started the wrong game and got way too deep into that. So that was a little bit frustrating. Um, After chatting with my brother Tom and realizing that I had started the wrong game, I went back and obviously began my playthrough of the original Zelda.
Right,
And
we were talking on the phone.
yes, and it was a little rough,
Yeah?
but I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
So
So I know this game came out in Japan in '86, and then it moved to the USA in '87. But like I said, it was a year before I got my copy, and this game came with that instruction booklet, like I said, and I just wanted to play, and just running around, not knowing what to do, and then of course we're on the school grounds, and I remember the kids had Nintendo Power, so they had the
Right.
walkthroughs and the hints, and those were the cool kids.
right,
At least I thought they were cool, and they would just never let anybody really look at that book, and then you'd ask them, hey, how do I get to level 5? And they would tell me something stupid. So of course then I would race home after school, and I'd go try to find it, and I couldn't find it.
Oh.
And then I'd go back, oh man, I couldn't find it there, and somebody else, they're okay, what you got to do is you go to this spot, and then you go up 5 times, and then you're in level 5. But it was stuff like that, I mean, there's so much exploration.
Yes.
But who goes up 5 freaking times into nowhere? And and if I was smart enough to open up my instruction booklet, it is on there, but it doesn't say go up 5 times.
Right.
Right. So we didn't have the internet. We had our buddies, and sometimes our buddies were not our buddies. They were just screwing with us. And hey, did you try to light every bush on fire? Well, oh, for fuck's sake, the candle only works one shot. So then you're going in and out and in and out, and until you get the orange candle, and then you can burn multiple things.
Right.
Geez. So you never knew who to trust or anything. So that book that I did find online, did you read through it?
No.
No.
I looked at the pictures
Oh,
a
that's
little
nice.
bit, but I didn't actually read through it. Had I done that, I probably would have had a little bit better experience, much like younger Tom.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you
have.
did have a lot like younger Tom experience there. But I do love how this book holds your hand for the beginning. It tells you where the first level is. It gives you a map of the first level, and then it does tell you where level 2 is, and it does give you a map of level 2. But if you're anything like me, you just go through and you just stumble your way through it, and you find the map in the game, and you find the compass in the game, because we're too pig-headed to read that damn manual. Sorry. So that 5th one, like I said, you're looking for it on that map, and you can't really find it. It's like the Lost Hills or something like that. And so you go to that one for number 5, and then I know where they all are now, and that's wonderful. Did you look up any of the stuff when you were playing?
I didn't. I was able to stumble my way through the first 4 levels.
Okay.
But it sounds like moving forward, I'm going to need to review the book.
Yeah, okay.
Because
So you've done through level 4?
yes.
Okay,
I've
okay.
done through level 4. And I was curious, how many times have you actually bought this game? Because I know you've played it across multiple different platforms.
Yeah, I have it on the Nintendo that my parents bought, and then I don't know if you remember this, but back on the Wii, they had kind of like the eShop where you could go on, you could buy games, and I think it was like $5 on the Wii. So I bought it there, and I fired that up. I actually got to play that account, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit more. And then when that Wii died, we were able to transfer over to the Wii U.
Okay.
Even though we had purchased 2 other Wiis. it wouldn't let you take it from Wii to Wii.
Interesting.
But when we got a Wii U, there was, you can transfer your data. And that was pretty cool. So that one that had the game on it, I never wanted to throw it away. It actually became my garage Wii.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome.
And all it was for is out in the garage, I could watch Netflix while I was working on projects and whatnot.
Nice.
So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, I pay for the service on the Switch.
Sure.
So I can play it there. So technically, I have it on 4 different systems.
Wow.
But I didn't have to spend a ton of money to do that. So it's not so bad.
So have you beat it on all 4 systems, or are you at different points on different consoles?
I have it on all 4 consoles. I am in... I went back and looked at the different games. I went back to the my original childhood copy.
Sure.
And there's a battery in there, and so I was a little bit worried before I fired it up, because the manual actually says that it will save your data for up to 5 years.
Interesting.
Under normal use. And I don't know if they did this on purpose, but you can actually open up that cartridge, and that's exactly what I did. I pulled the 3 screws. And it's kind of cool. The chip's probably about 2 inches tall, and the width of the cartridge.
Wow.
And then it's got this little watch battery that's the size of a quarter on it.
That's amazing.
It is, and I thought for sure there'd be corrosion on it or it'd be completely dead, but it wasn't. It had a copy of a game. It wasn't a childhood game because it didn't have my name on it.
Sure.
It had Tantrum on it instead. So it's been in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
And then it had one of Tommy's games on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I don't know where it left him off at, but for me it was on level 9.
Okay.
And I tried to play it, and this dad really does suck at video games. Playing it on that old brick controller, and just trying to pick it up at level 9. And it's my character was all maxed out and everything.
Sure.
But what a pain in the ass. And then I picked up the Wii U and got on that account, and same type of a deal. It was at level 9, ready for me to beat it, had all the stuff there. And I played that for a little while, just kind of screwing around.
Sure.
But the creature comforts of having it on the Switch, where you can, rewind for 5 seconds.
It's a lifesaver.
It is a lifesaver, and I could rewind it a little longer than that.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when I'm fighting with some of those enemies. So it makes it easier to play. I could certainly dive in and pick it up on those. And then on the Switch account, where I've beaten it.
Mm-hmm.
I've beaten it twice, and it's sitting there ready for me to play through again. I don't know if you know this, but there's actually 2 games.
Really?
So when you beat the game, you go back in, and everything's in different spots.
Interesting.
So,
I had no idea.
Yeah, and just for exploration.
Very cool.
So if you're like me and you've played the first 9 over and over and over again, the rest of it's a little bit harder.
Right.
And I think I have beaten that, but if I have, it's been years. It certainly wasn't in the Wii stages. It would have been back in the Nintendo stages.
Right.
But there actually is a cheat for that.
Interesting, really?
So, yes, if you start up the game and you put your name in as Zelda, you start on the second half.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And I was actually, it's in my notes to talk about here in a little bit, but there are some cheats for this game that are kind of fun. So the other thing, since I'm kind of talking about the cheat codes and all that good stuff,
mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but back in the Nintendo days, they had a Game Genie. You know what a Game Genie is?
Well, I'm familiar with the term, but I can't say I've ever used a Game Genie.
Okay. Well, on the shelf behind you, there's a little gold, looks kind of like a game thing at the top there.
Okay.
Well, anyway, what you do is you take that and you put that in the Nintendo, and then you put your game inside of it.
Oh, so kind of like the action replay for the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, a lot like that.
Very cool.
But back then we didn't have the internet to tell us everything, so you had this big thick ass book, and you could buy updated copies, and it would have codes in it.
Interesting.
And so you could play that. And I I didn't fire that up this go around. I probably should, but I won't. Anyway, so for the Game Genie codes, there's one that you don't take any damage from anything. Well, that'd be pretty sweet. You could just go fight Ganon right at the end.
Yeah, just run through it.
Yep. Create a character with 8 life hearts right out of the gate. Do one with 16 hearts. Why would they give you 2 options?
Right.
You give me all the freaking hearts. Let's just go.
Max it out from the gate.
Yep. Don't lose any rupees when buying something. So you have that ring.
Yes.
Do you have that on your character?
I don't think I have the ring.
Okay. Well, that's 250 rupees.
Whew.
And you only can carry 255.
Dang.
So, yeah. So that one gets kind of brutal. There's a code where everything is free.
That'd be a nice code.
That would be a nice code. Infinite bombs. That's a nice one. You can have the blue ring, the red ring, right out of the thing, and those are the Game Genie cheat codes that came out. But there's a couple cheats that you didn't need the Game Genie for, and one of them is the one I was telling you for the second quest, where you put in Zelda as the name, and that's a neat one. And then they have a couple different things. They have one called Quick Death, and I never used that. I didn't actually know about it until now. But it says that if you pause the game and you press up and A at the same time on the controller too, it goes to the save screen. And that way, if you need to save the game, but you don't die and it won't count as a death, and I don't quite understand all that. And I don't know why they have that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I thought I would bring it up. And one of the little tricks that I have known about, but I learned it way back when, is if you leave an enemy in the room, or not in the room, in the overworld, like at the very beginning, you know how there's the 4 or 5 little guys running around?
Yes.
So if you kill all the others and just leave one, every time you come back to that screen, there'll only be the one.
Really?
If you kill all of them, they'll all respawn.
Okay, I'm going to have to test that
when
I go home and play.
Yeah, and I don't know how far away you have to get before it respawns all of them. Probably 4 or 5 frames over or whatever it is.
Very cool.
But if you just leave one there, when you come back, there'll only be one.
Very cool.
But, like when you're in the underworld and you do that, you want to get rid of all of them because you might get a key and you might get a what have you,
right?
Or a bomb, or like on level 1 you get the boomerang,
right?
So
love the boomerang,
right? And then it also says, and I've never tried this, so now I kind of want to fire it up on the Nintendo. But if you walk into the first dungeon, the Eagle, you immediately leaving the dungeon and go back in, it will unlock the first door.
Really?
Now, I don't know if that's bullshit or if that's true. Because I saw a YouTube thing where if you go in here, you can get this and that. And that was a lie. And it took me right back to my childhood days.
I was going to say, so it's interesting. There's still people spreading false information
I know.
About the game.
Well, we should probably start talking about the gameplay. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I think, one thing, I think, for me, I absolutely loved the size of the game.
Oh, yeah.
The colors, the map. I mean, for when the game came out and I guess the primitive technology that it's on, it's huge. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I did find it a little tricky finding the first level, though.
Did you?
Yeah, that was...
I told you where it was.
Well, you did.
You go up 1, you go over to the right 1, and then you go up 3. It's right there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't remember. And, as I said, I only looked at the pictures in the book. So I was just kind of running wherever the wind took me for the first hour or so and really got to kind of get a feel for the vastness that the map offers. But thankfully, we chatted on the phone and you were able to kind of help walk me through to the first dungeon.
This could be the first open world game ever.
It very well could be. I mean, and it really feels very open world.
Yeah.
And all the extra things, I mean, the gambling game, the little shops that are hidden
Oh,
throughout.
yeah, I can't wait to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Well, did you do that? We'll skip ahead a little bit. Did you ever do the would you like to play a game, for the money?
I tried.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was already frustrated because I had started the wrong game, and then I kept losing all of my money on the gambling game. So
Sure.
I was like, you know what, we're just going into the dungeons. Okay. So
Well, do you want me to talk old school first, or do you want me to talk new age?
let's talk old school.
Okay, so old school, back in the day, that money making game, it's really close to the beginning of the game.
Yes.
And so what you do is you go and you throw your bomb out there, and you save your game, and you go in with however many rupees, and then you'd have one that come up plus, okay, well now I'm broke. So then you hit the reset button, you go back in, you select that one.
Okay.
And then you can sit there and watch it, and you can write down the pattern.
So there is a pattern.
Well, supposedly there's a pattern. Supposedly there's not a pattern, but there's a pattern. And so you would just do that, and if you screwed up, then you could just, like I said, you could restart and just keep going back and forth until you got enough rupees to go buy whatever you wanted.
Right.
So that's old school, and that works. But with the Switch, you go in, you hit the -40, you rewind a couple seconds, plus 50.
Interesting.
And I'm not saying that I cheat. I cheated a lot. Going through this, as a young lad back in those days, I put in my dues.
Sure.
So now I just know what the shortcuts are. That's all it is. It's not like I looked up how do I cheese this game? It's just, those are the little tips and tricks.
Yeah. So I do have to ask, did you actually try to light every bush on fire?
I don't remember. Probably.
Because that would have taken so long.
Well, and then, okay, so you get the power bracelet in this game too, and I didn't get it on my last playthrough, but you can go to certain spots and you can move the rocks.
Okay.
And they're like time warps.
Right.
Or not time warps, place warps.
Okay.
So like there's one that puts you up by level 6, and there's one that puts you back at the beginning, and I think there's a couple different spots that it's useful.
Sure.
There's one, when you're on your way to level 2, there's that ferry, it kind of in the middle of the map.
Mm-hmm.
There's one there that you can move, a rock you can move there too, and I don't quite remember what's in that one. But like I said, I didn't get that this time. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It really is a beautiful game.
Because I was going to say, we should probably start, where the instruction book tells us, and go grab our sword.
Yeah. That would probably be best.
Because you forgot.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I made it all the way to level 1, though.
I made it all the way to level 1. And had to go back for the sword.
So, I don't know how many people did that. I saw this black thing, and I'm like, what the hell's that?
Right.
And then I just know that, so, when we had our Discord and you were like, okay, I'm going to fire this game up, I shot that to you.
Yes.
Kind of as a joke, hey, don't forget your sword. Yeah. And then you're off playing the wrong damn game. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't have that anymore.
No.
Okay, so I know you haven't beaten it yet. But so far, what's your favorite item that you've picked up?
I think right now my favorite item for me is probably the boomerang.
Boomerang? It's
such a versatile weapon, and it really, 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 really comes in handy with those frickin' bats.
Now, do you just have the regular wooden boomerang, or do you have the silver one from level 2?
Just the regular one.
Okay.
Still.
I think it's in level 2. You fight some of those guys again, and you can get the silver one.
Very nice.
Now the silver one goes all the way across the screen.
Very nice.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to pick that up. I kind of took more of a passive approach and tried to have as little combat as possible just to get to the different Triforce artifacts.
Yeah, and I
Which,
get that, but you get goodies when you beat them all up.
right. So I definitely need to go back and whoop some ass.
Whoop some ass, right on. For me, it's the magic wand. So you won't have seen this yet.
Okay.
But there's these little creatures. They're called Wizrobes,
Interesting.
and they shoot out this sound wave at you. And so my favorite is the magic wand, and it is their attack. So it sends out a sound wave.
Really?
And then if you get the magic book, it also makes it to where it lights that on fire.
Interesting.
So when you go into the rooms where they go dark, you can just whip that out, and it not only are you hitting creatures already once you get in there, but you're also lighting the room back up.
Very cool.
And if you have to light up some bushes, you can do that too. It's not really good for that.
So was that the what you were telling me earlier when you had said Nintendo actually wanted to put sound in the controller?
Yeah, I listened to a podcast about that, and I found a YouTube video about that, and I don't know how true that is, but the theory is that they were what was it called in Japan before it was called Nintendo, like Fancom or
something like
that.
Capcom or
Well, it wasn't Capcom.
No, Capcom
that's
was,
the developers for games. But anyway, so they their remotes, maybe they were different or something. But the idea is that you were going to be able to like blow into the controller, and it was going to do something.
How neat!
That is neat, and I don't know if it was for those or if it was for the little things. They have these great big ears on them, like little bunny rabbits. You shoot your arrows at them, and it just and they're done. So it's one of those. But anyway, yeah. So those Wizrobes, there's the orange ones that are okay,
right?
And then the blue ones, those little bastards, they are tough.
They do not look nice. I saw you playing a little bit earlier.
Yeah, did you watch my playthrough?
They look horrible.
Yeah, they're not so bad if you have the Master Sword, but still, they are brutal. Okay, well then let's switch over to favorite or least favorite enemy.
Right now, because of where I'm at, my least favorite enemy is the bats.
Right.
They're super annoying.
They're everywhere.
Very persistent. They're everywhere. They're like mosquitoes.
Yep.
They just keep coming. And yeah, the other thing that I don't like, and I don't really consider it an enemy, but it's those they're like magnetized, but they're the spiky blocks. When you're going through the dungeon, and then they'll just boom, slam into you and your toes.
Yep.
I can't stand those.
What's really great is when you have one where you have to unlock the door before you can go in it. So you gotta have to kind of tease it, and then go do it.
It's horrible.
Yeah, those are fun. So my favorite and least favorite would be the Dodongo, the rhinoceros type looking thing.
Okay.
Or Triceratops or whatever it is. The one that quote unquote really hates smoke in level 2.
Right.
Because once you get further into the game, you'll come across multiple ones.
Sure.
And I don't know that you have to shove a bomb in its mouth. It is the most effective, though.
It seems like.
Yeah, and his tummy gets upset.
Right.
Yeah. Or that man-eater plant, Manhindia or something like that has the four-headed plant.
It's very cool.
It's extremely cool.
Very cool. It's awful, but it is a very cool.
Well, did you know if you just put a bomb and it slides over it and it just all four of the things go away?
No, I had no idea. I'm sure that's in the book too.
You could use your sword.
Yeah, that's kind of a bob and weave technique.
Right. No, I remember the first time I laid down a bomb and it ran over it and all four ends just went flying and I was like, oh, that's how you do that.
Wow.
And it's a good one. But yeah, and then as far as the my least favorite, I've told you about this. Those bubble bastards.
Yes.
They stun you. They stun your arm, so you can't draw your sword. And I get so mad at those things. They make you bump into other things, like the Wizrobes.
Right.
You're in there. You're trying to hit them. and then you have them touch you, and now you can't do that. Now you kind of have to run away, or they're little knights, and they walk around. There's the blue ones and the orange ones. The orange ones aren't so bad because they only take 2 hits, but the blue ones take like 5 or 6 or 8 or however many they dark nut knights.
And so the blue ones, those are the ones that you have to actually get behind to hit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't hit them from forward. You have to hit them from behind or
What a
underneath. And only your sword.
Right.
Your boomerang does nothing.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Arrows do nothing. But yeah, those are the dark nut knights. Yeah, they suck.
They look awful.
Well, like I was saying, this is the first open world game that I can think of, and there's so much exploration, especially back in the 80s.
Right.
And I think this game truly is a pioneer for modern games, not just Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The what they have packed into this game, and with this being my first playthrough, I didn't really know what to expect. But what they were able to cram in that cartridge, it truly, truly is amazing. And I agree. I think this really was the pioneer for open world games today. I mean, I noticed a lot of the similar setups, having to go to different areas for different shops, and
Yep.
if you move this around, it unlocks this hidden door. And I mean, the fact that this game even had like waypoint transportation, like
Yep.
in games like Cyberpunk, they have fast travel is the word I'm looking for. The fact that this game had fast travel in the 80s,
Right.
it's amazing.
Are you talking about the warp whistle?
Yes, the
Yeah.
warp whistle. Yes, I mean that is
Or magic flute is what they call it.
the magic flute.
Yes, yeah, because it's not a warp whistle yet.
Right.
We're not that far into the Zelda series yet.
But no, I mean the technology in the game truly is just amazing. I think it even holds up today.
Oh, absolutely.
The controls are a little wonky. Sometimes you'll try to move your character left or right, and it'll kind of do a weird turn. But
Yeah, and there's no diagonals.
no.
No.
Other than that, it's great.
Yeah, so I have the book here. I was talking about how it had that battery inside of it.
Yes.
And let's see, where is that? It was just the funniest thing to me, the way it's worded in there.
So they actually talk about the battery in the book.
Yeah, they do. And I don't know if it was just because it was just the newest thing ever. I can't think of another game that did this. But basically, yeah, it was saying how it's it's only going to... Oh, there it is. The battery is used to retain the player's data for 5 years. However, depending on the conditions under which the game pack is kept, such as exposure to high temperature, etc., the life of the battery may be shortened.
Interesting.
But yet, there was never a problem.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious how many of these had bad batteries, or,
Yeah.
like maybe got overheated or something like that, or how many people actually had to take them apart and put new batteries in.
That would be an interesting statistic to find out.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to hear how well your cartridge has held up.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know you said you had it packed away for a while at some point.
Well, absolutely. You don't. It's not like anybody ever leaves them plugged in all the time.
Right.
So it's not like they constantly have power, and it's not like they charge up.
So I do want to ask. I know that you're a big Zelda fan.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you love this game in particular. Have you watched any of like the Zelda cartoons or some of the TV shows that they've had?
Yes, I have. They're horrible. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, you're trying to get me to say it, aren't you? Yeah, no, excuse me, princess.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I can't even do that voice justice. It's horrible. Oh, can you imagine though? They could redo that cartoon now.
They could do some amazing things.
Holy shit! And there was another thing I was listening to, and I didn't understand it until yesterday when I was driving. But they were saying how they were talking about the timeline of all the Zelda games.
Okay.
And how that went, and it was kind of interesting to think of, that there's more than one Link.
Yeah,
You
kind
know,
of like a multiverse of links.
and I think that's a great way to describe it, would be a multiverse, because basically they're saying that, it's not always Link, it's the spirit of him,
Right.
type thing.
Right.
And the other thing that got me to thinking of that is, because this is my Zelda game.
Right.
When I was little, I I had this game, and then I had a friend that had Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link,
Sure. Sure.
I think is what it was called. And I didn't understand it. I didn't like it. I even think I rented it a time or two, and I just couldn't get into it. And then when Super Nintendo came out, I already have a Zelda game.
Right.
I don't need another one.
Right.
Now my wife, she has it. We actually have her childhood copy.
Oh, that's cool.
It's one of the boys have it downstairs, and I don't know if I'll fire that one up. I'll probably just play it on the Switch since we have it there. But I didn't get into all the other Zelda games. We've rented them. The boys have all played them.
Right.
I've played a little bit of them, like Link's Awakening. I didn't play that on the Game Boy. I played that on the Switch.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful game. So I'm just starting to get back into these games. But I was playing Hyrule Warriors, and there's a cutscene in there. Well, Princess, we just need to find the next spirit that's gonna wear these clothes or something like that. It's Link's outfit, And,
Interesting.
and so you're playing as him, and then all of a sudden you're wearing his clothes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So now it's just kind of tying it all back together. My ADD doesn't allow me to just play a game. I got to play like 5 games at the same time, and in today's world, I got the PlayStation, the computer, the Xbox, the Switch, and all the old stuff we have.
Sure.
And there's nothing to play.
Right. You never find anything to.
Right. And so we probably in this household have over 500 games. There's nothing to play. I have to buy something new.
Right. And they make them so shiny too.
Oh, Jesus Christ! They put them in those gold cartridges, and they'd sell more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh man. I could probably talk about this game forever. That's probably the problem. But is there anything you want to discuss before we score this game?
Gosh, I just I've only played 2 Zelda games, and one of them being Breath in the Wild, and I can't remember the name of the other one, but it was on the Nintendo 64, and I think I had told you that.
Oh, Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited to be getting into the world of Zelda, with the games and the cheesy cartoons. And I agree. I do think it would be really cool to see a remake of the cartoon, and maybe even, this could be an unpopular opinion, but a live adaptation. A Zelda movie, I think would be awesome. And I know that's really popular right now in the film industry, making live movies. There's a Minecraft one coming out with Jack Black that looks kind of cheesy, but I would really like to see sort of a Zelda resurgence.
They probably could do that now and do a decent job. I mean, look at the Super Mario movie.
I know, that was amazing.
I mean, and I like the idea of keeping it animated like that.
I think animated would be cool.
I mean, I'm all for, watching an actor play a part.
Sure.
I love that. But, when it's animation, that character doesn't age.
Right. Right.
Just because the voice actor ages doesn't mean that the character on the screen does.
That's that's a good point.
I know people were frustrated with the Mario movie, that Chris Pratt took over as Mario. And those people just they'll get over it someday.
Eventually. You never know, but
he did a good job.
I think he did a great job, and I don't know, I would like to see a live action Zelda. I'd like to see something along like with modern day effects, but along sort of that darker color scheme, something that follows like the never ending story.
Ooh, good pull.
So I think it would be cool to eventually have that adaptation. But
sure.
Who knows? Hollywood's doing some cool things with video games right now, and it'll be interesting to see what comes.
Well, the nice thing is when they actually have people who've played the video game write a script.
Yes.
Instead of, hey, here's this script, I think we can make it fit.
Right.
Right. So, well, all right. So, I found a Metascore of 84. and I'm not exactly sure where the Metascores come from. If they come from, just people like you and I who go and they talk about, oh, I played this game and this is what I think, and I don't know if this score is from back in the day, and I don't know any of that stuff. Do you have any thoughts on where those scores come from?
I'm not certain where the scores come from. I did look into a little bit of the ratings for this game, and it's interesting because the people who hate it, they really seem to hate it.
Right?
Like, it's like there's a whole, like, Zelda fan base centered around just hating this game specifically.
So they at least care.
Yeah, right. I mean, It's not like they don't care. Yeah. But I'm not sure where the Metascores come from.
Yeah. Well, I found a Metascore of 84 out of 100, which is, it's still a B.
It's still a B?
Yeah. What the heck? Especially way back in the day there. So you already know where I'm at with this game. I mean, and if anybody listening can't figure it out, then, yeah, there's that. Anyway, so where would you put this game?
I'm going to have to do... I'm going to have to give it probably a 95. So a game play again and again. I love it. I need to play it again. I want to have a better playthrough experience.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know where I'm going, what I'm doing, but it really is, it's such an enjoyable game. It's fun to play in the dark, late at night, get lost in the colors of the world.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Absolutely. And I don't, obviously this is only our third episode, so we have our own little game breakdown. We have an epic fail, which is a game erase. We have a game fail. It's a little bit nicer, but it's still a fail. It's an F rating. We have our game over, which is a D. Gameplay, it's worth playing it, so that's a C. Gameplay again, which is a B. Gameplay again and again, which is what you said. You said 95.
Yep.
So that one goes all the way up to 99. And then there's 100% game perfection. And I got to tell you, man, as much as I love the Zelda series and this game, it's getting a 99.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah. You know what that one point's for?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bubble spirit. He can kiss my ass.
Yeah,
he truly can.
He truly can.
So it's losing a point for that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I figured this would have been one of the few that got the game perfection.
And it should. And I'm really, I'm gonna play the Super Nintendo version.
Okay.
Like I said, back then I already had a Zelda game,
right?
So I never played it, and then.
Right.
When the Nintendo 64 came out, I found girls.
Well, yeah.
And so I didn't play any of those ones. And then, you get older and older and older, and you kind of forget to play the new games.
Sure.
Until you're my age and you jump right back in. But, so I'm going to give it a 99%. So it's a gameplay again and again. I love it to death, but that's just where it's going to stand. And we did run a Discord poll. And currently it's families and friends, and whatnot. And but we did have a poll.
We did have a poll.
And the next podcast episode number 4, it's going to be RC Pro-Am. And so yes, we're staying in the NES library, and I couldn't be more stoked about that. But I'm not sure what we should play for April 23rd. In that episode, it's a busy month.
That is going to be a very busy month.
So we could pick something newer. We could pick some listener suggestions on the Discord. Hopefully this podcast will go live and we'll get some chatter, or we'll just come up with something fun to play. And then we'll run another poll during that RC Pro-Am episode. I'm thinking that we'll have one episode a month will be whatever we want to play.
Sure.
And then that other one can be a poll.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and kind of see where it goes from there. Any ideas what you want the next game to be?
Ooh.
After RC Pro-Am? Kind of leaning towards like Limbo or Blatro or something.
Limbo would be fun.
Yeah.
I like puzzle games.
I do know you like puzzle games. That's why the first 2 episodes are puzzle games, right? And not necessarily to go back to that well, but just playing that one.
Yeah.
It's fresh in my mind, and we could certainly do that one. But
Yeah, that could be fun.
yeah, but hopefully some of our listeners can come up with some games and some suggestions, and we'll kind of feel it out there and figure out what we're going to do, or maybe take some little suggestions and put them on a poll.
Definitely. I like that idea. Try to get the audience engaged a little
Yeah, yeah, and I'm hoping somebody hears this episode.
bit. Well,
The first two, we're getting the equipment working and whatnot, and it's they were nice short episodes.
sure.
Limbo would be a nice short episode.
Yeah.
RC Pro-Am's going to be a nice short episode. I suppose if they get too small, we can always run 2 games together or
Definitely.
something, or
Definitely.
I put on the poll when we got Zelda, it was Dig Dug 1 and 2. So I was going to combine those because they're small games, they're arcades and whatnot, and then there was Frogger 2
Yes.
was on there. I think it was Frogger 2.
I think it was Frogger too. Yeah, I think that was my one of my suggestions. And oddly enough, I think I voted against it.
How dare you?
But
Well, and no, it's called Frogger Returns. That's what it was.
Frogger Returns.
Because that one's on the PS3, and I found Frogger. I found a Frogger game on the Wii U that I had downloaded
Interesting.
way back in the day. I'm like, oh, this one, and the boys are like, no, not that one, Dad. So good times. Anything else before we go, bud?
No, I think that's about it. I enjoyed this game. I enjoyed this episode, and man, I'm looking forward to firing up my Nintendo Switch tonight and playing it the right way.
Yeah.
Really getting into it and exploring everything that this game has to offer.
Awesome. Well, let's shut this thing off then and go play some RC Pro-Am for the next episode.
That sounds like a great time to me.
Right on. Thanks, guys, for listening.